What's going on, everybody? This video is my year in wrestling 2005 part 3 video. I'll be talking about TNA and WWE only in this video. It's part 3 of 05 year in wrestling. And I'm going to start it off talking about after ECW One Night Stand 05. I'm going to be talking about now Slammiversary, which took place in June, probably a week after One Night Stand. So Slammiversary took place June 19th, 05, from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida, because that's the only building they ran for their pay-per-view events. Good matches that were on the show. Shark Boy defeated Zach Gowen, which I didn't see because I did not order Slammiversary 05, even though I kind of wanted to. But I did not. Other matches that were probably good. You had Elix Skipper, Delirious, The Amazing Red, and Janelle Clark in a six-way match where... six-way match... Who the hell won it? Or somebody pinned Delirious. I don't know who. That's all it says. Shocker defeated Alex Shelley. Nobody cared about Shocker. And Alex Shelley was not really getting any kind of push yet in TNA in 05. Ron Killings defeated The Outlaw, which was what it was. It wasn't very good. NWA Tag Team Champs. The Naturals defeated Petey Williams and Eric Young to keep the NWA Tag titles. Samoa Joe made his TNA Wrestling debut. Samoa Joe defeated Sanjay Dutt in a good X Division match. And this would start, I think, a year and a half or 2 year undefeated streak for Samoa Joe in TNA. The guy went undefeated for a very long time. He won the X Division title and had a great run. So, up next was, nobody cares about that or that. TNA X Division champion Christopher Daniels defeated Chris Sabin and Michael Shane in a triple threat match, in a three-way match where Sabin got pinned. Now Raven, replacing Jeff Jarrett, defeated NWA World Champion AJ Styles, Abyss, Monty Brown, and Sean Waldman in a five-way King of the Mountain match. So Raven wins the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I was pretty surprised when I found out Raven won the world title. He didn't hold on to it for very long, but at least he won it, and he can call himself a former NWA World Champion. So I was happy for Raven when I heard he won the NWA title. So Slammiversary, I did not see the show. I still haven't seen the entire show. I've seen a lot of clips, but not the entire show. So I'm sure it's a decent pay-per-view, but I can't really rate it because I didn't see the whole show. Now I'm going to talk about WWE Vengeance, which was a Raw brand pay-per-view event, which took place on June 26th, 05 from Las Vegas. Intercontinental Champion Carlito Caribbean Cool defeated Benjamin. And I don't know why they gave Carlito 3 names, but he had 3 names for a little while before they dropped to those other names and just called him Carlito. Victoria defeated Christy Hemme. I'm sure that match was not very good, but Victoria, I'm sure, carried the entire match and carried Christy. Kane defeated Edge, which I'm sure was a decent match. Shawn Michaels defeated Kurt Angle. I believe this was not a 2 out of 3 falls match, but they would have a 2 out of 3 falls, I think, 30-minute Iron Man match at the Raw Homecoming in October when the WWE would return to the USA Network, where Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle had a great match. But at Vengeance, they still had a very good match, even though it wasn't a gimmick match. Shawn Michaels defeated Kurt Angle in another very good match between those two. They are two of the best that we've ever seen. Definitely are Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle. They are two of the best to ever step in the ring. WWE Champion John Cena, and I believe he was drafted by Raw, so he went to the Raw brand in 2005 after WrestleMania. Cena goes over to Raw. So John Cena defeats Chris Jericho, and they had a pretty good match. Chris Jericho and Christian in a three-way match where John Cena won and retained, and it was a pretty damn good three-way. I enjoyed it. WWE World Heavyweight Champion Batista defeated Triple H in a Hell in a Cell match. It was a good cell match. I enjoyed it. Batista and Triple H always had great chemistry. So that was Vengeance 05. I would grade it or rate it 1 to 10. I'd say it was a 8. Pretty damn good pay-per-view because HBK versus Angle, the Hell in a Cell, and the WWE Championship Triple Threat match between Cena, Jericho, Christian. Those three guys worked very good together. Now, I'm going to talk about TNA Sacrifice, which took place, or No Surrender, not Sacrifice, No Surrender 05, which took place on July 17th. A lot of these matches are not worth talking about because they were just not that good. Samoa Joe defeated Chris Sabin. What else was decent? AJ Styles defeated Sean Waltman. Jerry Lynn was the guest referee for some reason. TNA X Division Champion Christopher Daniels. The Fallen Angel defeated Petey Williams in a good X Division title match. NWA World Heavyweight Champion Raven in the main event. And it was a good main event. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of blood spilled in this one. Raven defeated Abyss in a dog collar match for the NWA World title. So Raven wins and retains the title. And as I said, it was bloody. I believe Abyss was bleeding and Raven was bleeding a lot in this dog collar world title match. So that was No Surrender 05. I kind of remember this pay-per-view, but not that very good because since after this No Surrender 05 pay-per-view, I've probably seen and watched like over 900 wrestling shows. So I can't really remember every single show I've seen. But I do remember Raven and Abyss was a good, hardcore, bloody world title match. And I enjoyed it. Now I'm going to talk about TNA Sacrifice. Took place in August of 05. Kicked off with not an X Division match, but kind of like one because a lot of X Division guys were in it. Sanjay Dutt, Chris Sabin, and Shark Boy defeated Simon Diamond, Elix Skipper, and David Young. Abyss defeated Lance Hoyt, which I was never a fan of Lance Hoyt. As I said, I thought the guy was boring, and I don't know how he got over in TNA with the crowd in the Impact Zone because they loved him. Ron Killings and Conan defeated Monty Brown and Kip James. BG James, who was the Road Dogg, was the guest referee. TNA X Division Champion Christopher Daniels defeated Austin Aries. Jerry Lynn defeated Sean Waldman. No, not the main event yet, but close to the main event. Samoa Joe defeated AJ Styles in their first ever one-on-one match on a TNA pay-per-view. It took place at Sacrifice 05 in August. I'm sure Joe and AJ had a great match at Sacrifice because they had great chemistry together. And they always had great matches together. Main event was Jeff Jarrett and Rhino at Sacrifice 05, defeating the team of Raven and Sabu when Rhino pinned Raven. So Rhino came into TNA, I believe, in August or July. He debuted in TNA, and the crowd popped. They were pretty excited to see Raven in TNA, and not Raven. They were excited to see Rhino in TNA. Rhino was still pretty much in his prime. He was pretty young still. Not saying he still can't go now, because he can, but he's not really in his prime. So that was the main event, a tag team match where Jeff Jarrett and Rhino defeated Raven and Sabu. Now I'm going to talk about WWE Great American Bash, and I might be rushing in this video and going through these pay-per-views really quick, because I don't want this video to end up being 40 minutes long like some of my other ones. So, Great American Bash 05 took place on my birthday, July 24th. So, I do remember this show. Took place, as I said, July 24th, 05. It was a SmackDown only pay-per-view. Heidenreich and Road Warrior Animal. They were teaming up Heidenreich to paint his face and basically replace Road Warrior Hawk and make like a new Road Warriors team, but it didn't work because Heidenreich was not Road Warrior Hawk and never will be. So Road Warrior Hawk and Heidenreich defeated the SmackDown Tag Team Champions Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro M&M to win the tag team titles. That was pretty shocking because Road Warrior Animal is pretty old. I think he's in his 40s at least. And I don't know why they gave them the tag team titles, but they did. And I don't think they held them for very long anyway. Did Heidenreich and Animal, I'm sure they didn't hold on to them long. Booker T defeated Christian in a decent match. U.S. Champion Orlando Jordan defeated Chris Benoit. They had a good match. The Undertaker defeated Muhammad Hassan. And then after it, he picked him up for a last ride on the steel stage and put him through, powerbombed him, last ride him through the stage. He took a piece of the stage off, so there was a hole in the metal stage, and then Taker last rides him. I'm sure Muhammad Hassan did not get injured. There was probably a pad for him to fall on under there, because the guy was not going to get powerbombed on the concrete. He probably would have been dead if that really happened. So Taker basically destroys Muhammad Hassan, and then his character goes bye-bye and gone forever out of the WWE. And they may have, after this match, they may have had these other wrestlers dressed up like terrorists. They had masks on, ski masks and camo gear. It's pretty sickening to think about terrorists or doing a terrorist gimmick and having guys dressed up like terrorists coming out on a wrestling show nowadays, because the world is pretty fucked up nowadays. These fucking terrorists, or a lot of them, are probably living in the United States, and that fucking makes me sick, but it's the truth. Anyways, I think they had a bunch of terrorists attack Taker, or look like terrorists. They were just wrestlers playing terrorists backstage, and they had like a line of fish line or something, or a wire, and they were choking Taker out with it, and then they carried his body above them to the backstage. I think that happened at Great American Bash 05. I might be wrong, but I think it happened on SmackDown. That the wrestlers came out dressed like terrorists, beat the crap out of Taker, choked him out with a wire, and then carried his body out of the ring to the back. And then SmackDown ended, and I think that was so controversial that WWE had to drop. They basically dropped the storyline, and it was never mentioned again why Taker was carried out by those masked men. So that was pretty risky for WWE to do a storyline like that, having wrestlers dressed as terrorists. Pretty 9/11 was only 4 years before '05, so you can't do terrorist storyline, or you can't have wrestlers dress as terrorists anymore in wrestling. That's too controversial, and that shouldn't be done. If I was booking and if I was in control, I would not ever do that again, because that's just wrong. I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable with seeing that on TV again. Even if you have just the wrestlers playing the part of a terrorist and beating the crap out of someone and carrying their body off out of the ring, I still wouldn't be comfortable with doing that or seeing that. So, you got the Mexicools, who were super crazy, Juventud Guerrero and Psychosis. The Mexicools, do you think that sounds racist? Yes, because it was. Taking on the Blue World Order, the BWO, who was very short-lived on SmackDown. The BWO did not last. I don't even know why they brought the BWO in. They brought in the Blue Mini, and they already had Stevie Richards and Nova under contract, so whatever. But the BWO, they were never going to get a shot. They were never going to get any kind of opportunity or push, so it was stupid to put them together on a pay-per-view. So I said Mexicools defeated the BWO. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeated Eddie Guerrero as they continued their feud in '05, and it was a pretty damn good match, as most of their matches were good. Melina defeated Tori Wilson in a bra and panties match. Candice Michelle was the referee. JBL defeated World Heavyweight Champion Batista by DQ when Batista was caught using a chair. So that was Great American Bash '05. If I would rate this pay-per-view, I'd give it a 7. Now, on to TNA Unbreakable '05, which took place on September 11th, '05. Good matches that I cared about that I'm going to read, because the rest are not worth even mentioning. Austin Aries defeated Roderick Strong in a good match. What else? Chris Sabin defeated P. Williams in a good match. Abyss defeated Sabu in a decent match. Bobby Roode defeated Jeff Hardy. Well, what else? NWA World Heavyweight Champion. This was the main event. Raven defeated Rhino in a Raven's Rules match. That was not the main event. This next match was. And it was an epic three-way match. One of the greatest three-way and one of the greatest matches in TNA history. AJ Styles defeated X Division champion Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe in a triple threat matchup. It was epic. Joe, Daniels, Styles was epic. Very good match. If you haven't seen it, I don't know, look it up on YouTube. AJ Styles versus Daniels versus Samoa Joe from Unbreakable '05. Very good match. Very good match. Probably the match of the year in '05 in TNA. And might have been the match of the year in all of wrestling in '05. So that was Unbreakable. Because of Joe, Daniels, Styles, I would give it a 9. It was a very good pay-per-view. At least that match was. A 9 or 10. Now I'm going to talk about WWE SummerSlam '05, which always takes place in August. It opened up with Chris Benoit defeating U.S. champion Orlando Jordan by submission to win the U.S. title. And Benoit would go on to have a very long and successful U.S. title run. I believe he would hold it past, I think, WrestleMania 23 or 20 I don't know, 22 maybe. Up next, you had Edge defeat Matt Hardy when the referee stopped the match due to a lot of blood loss that Matt Hardy suffered. This feud was building and building and building. WWE, everybody knows Edge and Lita had an affair and cheated on Matt Hardy. Lita cheated on Matt behind his back when I guess Matt Hardy wasn't around and Lita was around and she was on the road, or Lita was at home and when she had neck surgery, Lita was at home and talking to Edge on the phone all the time or whatever. So they fell in love and whatever. I guess they fell in love because they started going together. And I believe Edge was even married at the time. That's pretty fucked up, but whatever. It's none of my business. I don't really care. So then WWE, I believe, released Matt Hardy for some reason. I don't know why, but he was released. And then Matt Hardy they had a WWE had an internet show called Bite This. Lita was a guest on it, and then Matt Hardy called in on the phone and started calling Lita all these names. And he was like, "Why'd you be such a slut, Lita? Or, why'd you have to be such a whore and go with Edge and cheat on me?" And then Lita didn't look comfortable on the internet show. She was like, "Could you please hang up on Matt?" And she didn't look comfortable, but whatever. Then WWE obviously and Vince, they obviously signed Matt Hardy back, signed him to a contract because he showed up on Raw out of the crowd, and it kind of felt like he wasn't even part of the WWE roster anymore, but he was. He jumped in the ring, attacked Edge, and cops arrested Matt Hardy, put him in handcuffs, and then Matt got on the microphone and said something like, I think he said Matt Hardy will never die or something like that, and then even mentioned Ring of Honor on Raw. He said ROH, Ring of Honor, because I guess he's working there. Or he just did that because it was in the script to say Ring ROH. And then he called Lita a slut and a whore on the mic, and then he got carried off in handcuffs. That was a great moment, shocking moment on Raw back in 2005 in the summer. So Edge then and Matt Hardy face each other at SummerSlam. I was really excited for this match. And it was basically a brawl and a street fight. And the match was stopped. They would have another one at Unforgiven 05. I believe a cage match. Up next, you had Rey Mysterio Jr. defeat Eddie Guerrero in a ladder match. And I believe this was for custody of Rey's son, Dominic. Eddie did great work in this storyline on SmackDowns. He kept cutting promos calling Dominic, saying, "Dominic, I'm your daddy, I'm your papa, and I'm going to beat Rey, and you're going to become my son," or whatever. Or I'm going to get custody of you. It was an entertaining storyline, entertaining build-up to Eddie's ladder match. And Rey won, as I said. So I guess he got custody of his own son, Dominic. That makes a lot of sense. Kurt Angle defeated Eugene by submission. I don't remember this match, but I'm sure it was decent. Randy Orton defeated The Undertaker by pinfall. They were continuing their feud from WrestleMania 21, I guess. WWE Champion John Cena defeated Chris Jericho, and this was Jericho's last appearance, or last pay-per-view appearance for a couple years, because his contract would run out and Jericho needed a break. He was burnt out. He didn't want to be there anymore, so he left. Did the job to John Cena. Then I believe on Monday Night Raw, he lost again to John Cena, and then he had to leave the WWE forever. You know, loser leaves WWE match, I think. So then that's how Jericho lost, and then he had to leave. I believe he'd come back in 06 or 07 in the fall. So the main event was not this match, but World Heavyweight Champion Batista defeated JBL again. This was the main event. Hulk Hogan defeated HBK Shawn Michaels. Their feud started when basically Shawn Michaels asked Hogan to be his tag partner at Backlash in April. And then in July, HBK turned on Hulk Hogan, super kicked him on Raw. And then HBK and Hogan, they would do some great work in this feud in the build-up to SummerSlam. Shawn Michaels was dressed like Hogan and did a backstage segment where he was on Larry King Live, dressed as Hogan, making fun of him, stuff like that. That was great stuff from HBK. Made me remember the good old days when HBK was a heel in DX. So Hogan wins. I'm sure he didn't want to do the job to HBK, and I don't blame him. If I was Hogan and I had, of course, anybody, the name of Hulk Hogan, if you were Hulk Hogan, you would have an ego also. So if I was Hogan, I would probably not want a job either. But anyways, Hogan bled a lot, got busted open, that was awesome. HBK basically took a lot of bumps. He was fed to Hogan, kept getting knocked down, kept getting up, getting knocked down. HBK did a great job in this match, made Hogan look great, and Hogan did his normal spots, hawked up, did his leg drop, did his big boot. It was great. I enjoyed it. HBK versus Hogan is one of my favorite matches of '05 at SummerSlam. So that was a good end to SummerSlam '05. Now I'm going to talk about Unforgiven '05, which took place in September. Ric Flair defeated Intercontinental Champion Carlito to win the title by submission. That was pretty cool to see Ric Flair get the Intercontinental title, even though he was pretty old. I think over 54 at the time, or maybe older. Ashley Mazzaro, the chick that won the second ever Diva Search. Ashley Mazzaro, she won the second ever Diva Search in '05, before this Unforgiven pay-per-view. And I remember I did vote a couple times. I did vote for Ashley Mazzaro. I liked her for some reason, but when she got in the ring, she was no good at all. She was just basically eye candy. So Ashley Mazzaro and Trish Stratus defeated Tori Wilson and Victoria. I believe Tori and Victoria were on SmackDown, on the SmackDown brand for a very long time. Big Show defeated Snitsky, which no one cared. At least I didn't. Benjamin defeated Kerwin White. If you don't remember Kerwin White, it's probably better. It's a better thing you don't remember that gimmick because it was god awful. Kerwin White was Chavo Guerrero Jr. For some reason, they decided to give him this gimmick. I don't know who thought of it. Probably Michael Hayes or Vince. They probably thought it was funny. Anyways, it wasn't funny. It was ridiculous. Kerwin White, they had him. You cut promos. He was dressed up in like khakis and a sweater vest, and it was just bad. It was a bad gimmick. They had him. Chavo dye his hair bleach, blonde. That looked awful. And right there, Chavo with bleach, blonde hair, that was not going to get over, and the character was never going to get over. He had a saying. He would get on the mic and say, "If it ain't white, it ain't right." That ain't right, because that shit is racist. But whatever. They were still doing racist gimmicks in '05 and '06. So Kerwin White loses to Benjamin, and I can't believe Kerwin White even got a pay-per-view match back then, because he was awful. And his gimmick, Kerwin White, only lasted probably 3 or 4 months, and then he was done. Matt Hardy defeated Edge in a steel cage match. This was a very good cage match. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the Matt Hardy versus Edge feud and Lita feud, because Lita was with Edge. She was, every time Lita would come out with Edge in '05, she would make out with him and tongue him and basically look like a whore. But whatever. Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch defeated Raw Tag Team Champions Hurricane and Rosie to win the tag titles. I believe Lance Cade passed away. I forgot how. I think he committed suicide. So very sad that Lance Cade is no longer with us. Shawn Michaels defeated Chris Masters. Chris Masters, they tried to get the guy over. I'm sure he's a good guy, nice guy, but his gimmick was like straight out of the 90s. Like, his gimmick reminded me of Lex Luger and the Narcissist. So Chris Masters, that gimmick did not help him get over at all. It just held him back. And the guy was a muscle bound. I mean, the guy's in great shape, tons of muscles and looked jacked, but I mean, a lot of fans probably thought the guy's on steroids, and a lot of fans would chant at Chris Masters, steroids, steroids, and probably try to piss him off because it did look like the guy was on the juice. And Chris Masters has denied it that he's ever been on steroids, I think, but in my opinion, he probably was on them. And the thing is, I don't care. If wrestlers want to take steroids, I do not care, as long as they don't abuse them and fucking die of a heart attack. Because if you abuse them, you'll die like the Warrior did. Because the Warrior, in my opinion, he abused steroids, especially in the late 80s. And that's probably why he passed away of a massive heart attack in 2014. So, HBK, as I said, defeated Chris Masters. It was probably a decent, good match because Shawn Michaels was in it carrying Masters. Main event was Kurt Angle defeating WWE Champion John Cena by disqualification. This was a good match. I mean, Kurt Angle against basically anybody could be a good match because Kurt Angle was in it. And Kurt Angle was one of the best ever to step into the ring. Former Olympic gold medalist, the guy, you know this because he said it probably 100 times. Kurt Angle broke his freaking neck in the Olympics and still won a gold medal. And he was a great, great legendary amateur wrestler. And when Kurt Angle came to pro wrestling, he became great also. Hell of an athlete, hell of a talent, hell of a wrestler. So that was Unforgiven. And I believe during Kurt Angle, John Cena, he might have had Daivari, I think that's his name. He might have tried to interfere and become the ref once the original ref was knocked out. I don't really remember. So that was Unforgiven. Now I'm going to talk about TNA's Bound for Glory. This will be my last pay-per-view I'm talking about. And then I'll do a part 4 of 05 and be done talking about 05 after part 4. Bound for Glory 2005 took place in October like it always does. Samoa Joe kicked off the show defeating Jushin Thunder Liger. This was a good match. Very entertaining. I'm a fan of both guys, so it was fun to watch. Simon Diamond, Elix Skipper, and David Young defeated the team of Apollo, Shark Boy, and Sonny Siaki. And Sonny Siaki and Apollo would not last long. They were gone from TNA in 05, or in 06. Monty Brown defeated Lance Hoyt, which was boring. What else? That's not worth reading. Chris Sabin. Petey Williams defeated Matt Bentley. Matt Bentley was Michael Shane, but I guess they started calling him his real name. That is Matt Bentley. So Petey Williams defeated Matt Bentley and Chris Sabin in a 3-way Ultimate X match. NWA Tag Team Champions, America's Most Wanted, defeated The Naturals. Rhino, Sabu, Jeff Hardy, and Abyss were in a Monsters Ball match where Rhino pinned Jeff Hardy to get the win. And that was a very entertaining, very good four-way Monsters Ball match. You had Sabu diving over the top rope onto Abyss through tables. You had Rhino, I believe, press slamming. I think he press slammed Sabu, or Jeff Hardy threw him over the top rope through a table. It was very entertaining, a hardcore Monsters Ball fatal four-way. And Rhino, I think, won it. He did win, or I think he won the Monsters Ball match. TNA X Division Champion AJ Styles defeated Christopher Daniels in a very good 30-minute Iron Man match. And so AJ wins and retains the X Division title. Rhino won a 10-man battle royal, or 10-man gauntlet for the gold, to earn a title shot at the NWA title later on. Or I think later on in the show. Rhino substituting for Kevin Nash, who had been hospitalized with heart problems a day earlier. Rhino pinned and defeated NWA World Champion Jeff Jarrett to win the NWA title. It was a pretty entertaining match. I was happy Rhino won and became the NWA World Champion. You had Rhino. Rhino was the last ECW World Champion. At least the original ECW's last World Champion. The original ECW, the company that mattered and the title that mattered, not the WWE's ECW title, which was a giant silver belt which looked like shit. But that's another video and another story. So Abyss wins the NWA title. I was happy for him. He was pretty over with the TNA fans at the time. Good for Rhino. This ends my part 3 of the Year in Wrestling 2005. Hope you enjoyed it. If you don't enjoy my videos and you didn't enjoy some of this, well, you don't have to watch ever. So if you do watch any of my videos and you ever have, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel, like my videos, share my videos, do all that if you want to. And follow me on Twitter if you already don't, at TNA WWE Guy. Also, my other account is at NXT WWE Guy. Bye for now. This was part 3, 2005, The Year in Wrestling. Bye for now.